spell would solve, or is it like cut off his legs
Yeah.
and regenerate? Sort of a problem.
No, you're not sure. You'd have to look underneath his robes. But he is
Or is
he
it,
is
or
he
is
is
it
he is
just,
like horribly bent over, and he's kind of waddling around on two crutches.
or is it just he
Does anyone
old
look
and
like
it's
the high
near the
priest?
end?
Like, is this guy the high priest?
Yeah, give me a knowledge religion as you're now looking around. Like, who's the priest of the Heart of Gold?
Who's in charge of this bullshit show?
Yeah, how
Who's
come
in
this
charge of
guy's
this
still
Drake
hunched
and
over?
Pony show?
17.
Okay, the people that have symbols of the Heart of Gold are the Augur Sworn Guards. The General has a holy symbol. The guy with the horns coming out of his head has one, and so does Dudrabant.
Okay, Cade's doing a knowledge religion as well. 29.
What
They
are
are,
the
they are
gods?
all wearing golden lockets.
Okay.
Dudrabant comes all the way down the steps. What is this gift? He has a small army of like little minor priests and functionaries behind him.
Historically, it's been called a dragon's tear.
Okay, there's a gasp that goes through the hall. The woman actually stands up, the dame. A dragon stone, she says quickly to a dragon's tear, she says. That will leave one more gem left in the crown. He nods, and then he actually waves forward. She happily hops back up on the seat and is like sitting on the edge of the seat, kind of like, oh, this is gonna be good.
I wouldn't look too much into it though, because
The crown, you're now trying to remember, Z, to like, what were these things used for again? Dudrabant, which one is it? Which one? She's now tapping at the stairs to try to get your attention.
The nymph.
The fifth. Is this the fifth? If this is some sort of trick, he says, quieter, but it's still loud that people could hear. He's like threatening Zeta.
Are you accusing the delegation of lying to the Thane himself?
I'm not. But I have my eyes on you.
Yeah,
Hold
most
it
of them
closer
do.
to his face, like.
Most of them do. Look at him curve. Yeah.
He's like, give me the gift.
You should inspect it for authenticity.
Oh, that's me. She says in Elven.
Are you giving
She-
Dudrabant
yeah,
the
she hands
gift?
it to him.
Okay, what is the gift wrapped in, or is it just the bare gem?
It's not wrapped. It's
Okay.
exposed.
All right,
It's
well,
exposed.
he's looking at it.
Perfect.
Cade puts his eyes down.
It's a... Ah! He actually drops it, and there's a gasp as he drops the gift. Ah! He falls back against the stairs.
Seems it can have a blinding effect on the weak-minded. I apologize, Thane.
You did notice that all of these Augur Sworn did like to 5 foot step forward, their armor jingling, and they were leaning on their halberds before, but now they've kind of placed them down as something happened to Dudrabant, the Master of Ceremonies.
Okay.
The Thane
you want me to-
just simply waves his hands like gives them some sort of signal to stand down, and they do so warily. I cannot see elven tricks. Elven tricks.
You want me to fix that for you there, buddy?
I'm certain they wouldn't want our magic.
Yeah, whatever. Cade's kicking, not Cade. Grizzak's playing with wrinkles in the carpet.
Yeah, Belle Baruna comes down and she kind of throws one of the tapestries that was over top of one of the bird cages on top of the gemstone and
It
kind
seems
of
the-
scoops it up.
Forgive me, I assume the Master of Ceremonies would be familiar with the lore of the 5th dragon tier. It contains a nymph, Periods can be blinding.
Yes, yes, my Thane, it is authentic, is what he says, trying desperately to regain some semblance of.
Save some face. Yep.
Yep. Belle Baruna comes up and this woman does not like Belle. She comes up to Belle and like tears the tapestry out of her hands. Belle immediately like drops her head sort of down into a bow, and you actually notice that the first son almost got out of his seat because of that.
Oh, dwarves are complex.
Helga comes over, and she's like digging through it and kind of lets the Thane see. The Thane does reach into the bundle and grabs it and kind of holds it up and kind of presents it to everyone in the hall.
Everyone goes blind.
No, everyone just starts clapping. There's a roaring ovation.
Do they execute the person who stops clapping first?
No. There's clapter, and word is murmuring word that they found the fifth of the laurels, and this triggers something in Zeta's bardic recollection.
Okay.
How many laurels do they need to summon the ogre?
History or
Doom Lord?
arcane?
Oh, sorry.
Either.
I am actually going to roll. And this is the same roll for either, so. 49.
Okay, at the heart of the ancient gripe between the kings of Ar Yamar and the coronals of Terrazleen was something called the crown or laurels of the Wild Hunt. These were gifts from the elves and the dragons to the wild lords of the Fae.
Okay.
So why do the dwarves think they own these?
Because someone wrote it down, that's why.
The dwarves think they own these because the jewels were stolen from their lands. And the crown was never actually given. It was promised, but it was never actually given. Those that bestow this upon the lords of the Wild Hunt may have a very powerful ally indeed.
Well, that's just one more thing we gotta steal now, isn't it?
One more thing we have to borrow on our way out. Yeah.
Yoink, 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 yoink.
It is a wonderful gift. It is. As he's crawling on his hands and knees with his with his crutches all the way up. The fifth of the laurels. The elves have given the ultimate apology, my lord. They have finally acquiesced that they did wrong. Ancient wrongs.
Zeta chooses not to correct him, but will neither confirm anything he's saying.
Sitting there quietly with his hands folded in his robes, grinning at anyone who looks at him, sort of through gritted teeth, is Wyax of Arashi. The owl that you had seen before is just sort of perched on the inside of the room, up in the rafters, just watching this gathering. And
it's not beyond Zeta's understanding that what they're actually here to do is cause irreparable harm between the elves and the relationship between the elves and dwarves.
Belle Baruna almost leaves, runs out of the room, through servants' kind of quarters, almost in tears.
I don't know if it's between elves and dwarves or between elves and humans.
We accept this gift. They may stay as long as they abide by our rules, and as long as they wish. They may also stay here to hold out behind our excellent defenses during this shadow incursion.
Thank you, Great Dane.
Will somebody help me read the book?
don't know. If you can't read it, I don't know if we can continue.
I will help you read the book.
I'm hungry.
It's
And you notice him quietly saying, but at 10 o'clock, after our breakfast, is the blessing of the weapon racks. At high noon, the prayers of the horde. At 3 p.m., the judging of the goldsmiths. At 6 o'clock in the evening, the casting of the golden effigies into the forge. At 7 p.m., daily intonations. And at 8 p.m., the evening meal with roast boar and blue grains.
no red grains.
The reading of the daily ceremonies is complete. Despite being blind, closes the big book with a thud, and people begin to mill around the hall, some of them leaving on urgent business and others not. Well done, says YX.
Must we wait for dismissal before we leave?
They appear to be too concerned about their gift. It looks like they're trying to get peeks at it. Perhaps we should retreat from this breakfast, so that you may get something to eat to break your own fast.
That would be wonderful.
No doubt you will receive many visitors.
No doubt.
I will leave a messenger outside your door that can summon me at a moment's notice.
In Elven. I hope that was as entertaining as you'd hoped it'd be.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed.
Please try to arrange the general as one of our visitors, if possible.
Yes, or you could go and perhaps meet with the general himself. I'm sure it will startle him greatly.
What color is his scales again?
Gold.
Kind of a yellowish tinge.
It is good to have visitors and something to do. I noticed that some of you perhaps did not speak Dwarven.
What gave you that idea?
In our next meeting, I shall fix that.
That would be greatly appreciated. He looks back at Murgovane and Renee, who also said nothing. I don't believe they'll make many friends without it.
I'll have to go and find enough of these things. He actually pulls out a small golden orb.
I believe we'll only need the 2.
Yes, you'll probably need the platinum ones as well. Some of the ceremonies are on High Dwarven. Don't feel bad about this. Some of our leaders even require the platinum spheres around their head.
Just so happens I have an open linguistic spot that I didn't know what to put the language in.
Well, if you get a hold of one of these magical high dwarven spheres, then perhaps you could learn the language through the sphere. He's saying that some of the dwarven leaders don't know how to speak high dwarven and need a magical device to aid. You guys are filtering out. This dwarf noble. Don't think I don't know what you've done. Pointing at Grizak.
Yeah, Grizak gives him a high five. Anytime.
you approach him and he's like stumbling back from Grizak and being pulled away by some others.
Yeah, not too friendly now, is he?
Well, we are without weapons. Perhaps it would be best if you did not cause a ruckus.
He whispers to who should I not without weapons.
Custodian Thane's coming down the stairs.
Oh,
He actually approaches, and you do notice that these two stone things are following him obediently.
Cade's eyeing them.
Huge
Yeah.
dwarven statues of stone made for war, with many nicks and scratches along their
So is
lower
Myrtle
parts.
Vein.
Yep.
Like, yeah, we can take these.
You seem to have brought warriors with you.
Yes. It is dangerous out there.
I do not recognize Emberfist.
I trained with many of the monks most of my life, south and east and west.
Emberfist is not a clan of Aryamar.
No, Emberfists were south.
I think you would like to know where, Kate.
That's what I'm looking up.
Oh. Sorry, I thought you were just going to leave it at that.
Let me consult my journal that says where I'm from.
Let me check my ID.
Loading. I actually don't have that here.
He's
I don't
eyeing
actually-
Cade.
I don't actually know exactly where. Yeah, I don't know.
Then
exactly
I'll
where they
remind
come
you of the old laws, the ancient ways. While you are in my domain, I am your Thane.
Grizzak, perhaps you should come here and listen.
from. What was that? Because I waddle over. What can I do you for?
This truly is a time of war. Any dwarf in the domain of a dwarven king considers the king of that domain his sovereign.
Do the dwarves consider this a time of war?
If you elves are to be believed,
Were the dwarves involved at all in the first Shadow War?
no, they stuck to themselves.
Yeah. Cade nods.
Shadows
because
might have appeared at their doorsteps, but the
Yeah,
dwarves
I-
handled their own.
while we are here.
Good. Good. Then you will show me, as all dwarves do, in the Hall of Proving, what it is that you can do if you are a warrior.
Raises an eyebrow, smiles. If
It is for
That
the
you
Hall
know.
of Proving and your deeds there to determine how good of a warrior you are.
just point the direction.
Ha! Ha! Master of Ceremonies, Dodrabant. Take note, or remember if you cannot write without seeing. Dodrabant, I am listening, Custodian Thane. There will be a day of games. This Cade Emberfist from Southern Clans, who has acknowledged me as his Thane, shall meet a suitable enemy in the Hall of Proving. It is not the time for games, Custodian. It is not the time for games. Then make time.
There's always time for games.
Yes. Even the elves know. The Imperium demands games and blood. We shall give them their due.
Cade does the snap fist to the palm and the curt bow with a cat stance. Like, whoosh.
Okay. Ha ha! He seems to like that. And as for you, pariah,
Who's he looking at?
Who do you think?
Ooh, what can I do for you? You got a nice hat.
Apologies, Thane.
might I remind you, Thane, he is under the cloak of ambassadorial protection. I would have had you spend your days cleaning out the stables of this place.
You
Oh,
might
wait,
have to think of a better punishment for the
playtime. I get playtime.
With bare hands and feet.
No, you
Grizak
must
is
think
clapping.
of
He's
other
like,
Grizak.
oh.
Sorry, what did the Grizak say?
He's clapping. He's like, oh.
He's calling it playtime and clapping.
You will not get to go into the hole of proving.
Okay.
Perhaps
But where's his poop, though?
Perhaps we have another warrior that can replace him. And she looks back at Murgo Vane.
What is this?
He is a warrior and calls himself Shaman.
Wax is like, he's walking this way, you should move out of the way. As the golems are like just walking forward.
Okay, and we get out of the way of
Okay.
golems.
Ooh, Cade doesn't move. He lets him walk around.
Okay, one of them bumps into Cade.
Butts back.
Alright, there's one golem that's sort of stuck at Cade.
You let it go by.
It made sort
You
of
will
a
have to forgive
slight
him,
kicking
Cade.
motion. Cade stumbled out of the way. What is this?
He does not. This is Murgo Vane.
It's ugly for a dragonborn.
He says you're handsome.
He is Nagaji Vane. Similar to, but not the same as a Dragonborn. More of
thinks
an
you're
Ophidian
dragonborn.
race.
Is he speaking common?
Snakes, my lords! The elves bring snakes into our company!
Hey, look. Grizak goes, hey, look, he's dumb and blind.
He's
Grizak-
struggling to get down the
No.
stairs blind to sort of warn you guys, or warn his thing. He does not like you.
Man, definitely.
I'm so tempted to silently and still cast Grease underneath him just to see him go boom, 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 down the stairs. Who did that?
Yeah,
Murgovane is a brave veteran of the First Shadow War.
Oh. First Shadow War was 300 years ago, give or take.
There are,
Yeah, it was a
multiple
long time.
veterans, there are multiple veterans from the First War in your presence.
Have you been fighting for 300 years?
Murgo Vane's just looking at Zeta. Like,
He's asking if you've been fighting for 300 years.
no, I was turned to stone. He
He
said he was
responds.
turned to stone by Medusa. He's only been recently brought back.
Are you gladiators in the great imperial system? What tier are you?
No. Neither of us are.
Is
He
it
translates. No.
We
not a gladiator.
didn't put Cade into the system because
that's right.
Cade, in his practice match against
Oh,
an
yes.
ally, smashed all the gear.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense here either.
40,000 goals with a gear. Smashed!
He's asking Zero what tier they are.
They are rather competent. What's the 12th level
Hero.
characters are? Give me a second.
Veterans or
No.
No.
I think they're
Either
heroic.
legendary or heroic.
Sorry, I'm pulling up the sheet so I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
find
That's fine.
the proper wording?
the proper wording. Yeah,
Wax is listening to this.
I enjoy fighting multiple enemies.
The last time
Multiple enemies.
Cade has been tested in this fashion, Murgovane has not. The last time Cade fought, it was a legendary opponent he fell. Might have been a top tier heroic, but that was some time ago. Legendary should be appropriate. Perhaps Paragon?
Murgovane has thus far
Rough
refused to
veteran.
kill for sport. However, I think for a great thane such as yourself, he might make this exception.
Yeah. YX interprets anything that is in a language that the custodian thing didn't. His eyes go wide.
No, Zeta's
Oh, okay.
saying this to the Thane.
His eyes go wide. Legendary. Paragon! He goes over and he almost like hugs fucking Mergovane and Cade.
Mergovane just kind of like, okay.
You're going to have a great show, aren't we?
Yeah, just
looking
just
at
line them up.
YX and Zeta. Like,
Zera's gonna give him 2 thumbs up and a smile.
Mergovane does this.
He turns around and he's like about to point at one of the guards, and the guards are kind of like they sort of shy away. And then he points at one of his statues, and he looks at Mergovane, and he's nodding. He's asking a question.
Mergovane goes, says to YX, "Let the Thane know if he gives me back my sword, I will smash it to rubble."
He doesn't require translation for your bluster. Paragon is what he says. We will have such great show. They will defeat one of the Stone Guardians, and if they can defeat these two, well, do we have something in store for all of you? And you can hear a murmur going throughout some of the.
Who is all of you? Is everyone else?
Yeah, the dwarves and other people, and you notice that some of the guards are nodding slowly. Give me a perception check to see if you hear what it is that they murmur. He clasps Mergovane on the shoulder, clasps Cade on the shoulder, and you seem to have...
Grzek, here's a
We
26.
made an old man happy.
Yep.
Yeah, we brought first-round draft picks. You brought first-round draft picks? First-round draft pick?
No, you've brought like franchise players.
We brought Kobe Bryant. Kobe.
Franchise fucking one, not one, but 2 Wayne Gretzky's. All right.
Zeta got a 43 on her perception check.
Somebody had muttered nearby Old Thess.
Oh, knowledge local. Take 10. 22. Who's Old Thess?
You've heard about this thing. I need a knowledge dungeoneering.
Oh, 28.
I think on one of my sheets I've got some notes about Old Thess.
That sounds, yeah, it does sound familiar.
Okay. 28. Let me. Oh, not called a Grizak, called a...
When you're typing like that on it, it sounds rather crude when you're smacking your laptop like
Oh,
that.
here we go.
I'm actually hitting my knee.
Oh, that sounds that's what it sounds like.
Alright. Oh, wow. That's awful. Okay, then.
You could have told them you were a veteran and you could just slew some prisoners.
What is it?
Okay, very bad. Yeah, that's bad. Oh, that's very bad. That's a lot of CR there, Marty. Wow. So, I will share this with the party when we get back. Somewhere private.
He actually picks up the Golden Dame and kind of twirls her around as she's looking at the gem, or is trying to take a peek at the gem without actually looking at it too greatly. Dudra has people helping him out as you are brought back to your quarters.
Cade's noticed they don't have a cleric that can heal that right away.
Well, they don't cast out of some tradition. Maybe a tradition. This is not the time of healing. This is the time of bleeding.
Yeah, I'll go
Healing
back.
is for the spring.
I'm going to go back to the conversation layer. Wyax brings you to a beautiful, airy hall. It is near the top of the citadel. It has a beautiful view of the valley, and there is red herring and A red fish and blue grain that is served for everyone there, along with a very light mountain berry wine and some very brown bread.
Okay.
I assume this will be appropriate for your appetites.
Which one is the high priest?
What do you mean, which one?
The master of ceremonies, Boldak?
Oh,
Which...
the Great Horde was divided into 3 long ago.
The horde being a reference to what other religions would call a flock.
No, I mean the Great Horde of the Heart of Gold was divided into 3, and so was his church.
You've stolen the Heart of Gold's horde?
I did not do
Well,
any such
I mean,
thing.
the people of here.
There are 3 hordes, it is well known: the Heart of the Temple, the People's Horde, and the Miser's Vault.
Sid is just thinking, crap. There's like 3 places we gotta figure out now. We gotta figure out
The
which
Heart
one
of the
it's in.
Temple, much of that horde was spent on the adornments and beautification of our great city. Many holy weapons were constructed. The administrator of the Heart of the Temple, of course, is our general. He is a paladin of the Heart of Gold.
The Dragonborn.
Yes.
It's unusual
He's
to
one of
see
the
a-
high priests.
He is the chief paladin of the Heart of Gold.
He's a
It's a-
paladin.
It's unusual
Yes.
to see a paladin with such a
Heightened sense of awareness.
yes.
And, and abrupt reaction to events around him. One would say that is a known trait of paladins, that they are not such.
Yes, he is greatly disturbed at the somnolence of the Heart of Gold.
It's a big word. That's a 5 gold piece word you got.
The
Care to
people,
help with it, little folk?
the People's Horde was spent on the Gold Colossus, and he glances towards Grizek.
Grizek.
I believe you saw this statue during its early construction.
And fall.
The People's Horde has grown, or at least it's well thought that it has grown, as all offerings to the church are given before the statue, and scraped up quickly by our resident priest. You have met the Master of Ceremonies?
Yes, we have. Interesting fellow.
Why does he not cure his ailment?
Perhaps he did not prepare those spells today. He is a
I was
stickler
more-
for the way things were. I believe he keeps in his quarters an exact accounting of what past priests have prepared each day, and keeps this very close to his own heart.
We're gonna get we're just gonna have all entangles just written down in that book by the time. Entangles.
The Miser's Vault is...
I was actually referring to his legs.
Oh, he is a cripple, born that way.
And because he was born that way, he feels it's inappropriate to remedy via magic.
It is not a wound that can be healed. The Miser's Vault is a hidden vault, full of envy. People visit the Miser's Vault if they wish to borrow money.
Widget's just give it a nod. That's one.
Unfortunately, the Imperium has made such customs difficult, as the Miser's Vault is also responsible for producing coinage. and we have been very industrious in producing coinage in his Imperial Highness's visage.
So you're saying the main mints are here?
We almost always mint coins for the ancient kingdoms of Avasia have always sought out the dwarves of the Twin Mountains to mint coins for them. Unfortunately, it is only His Highness's visage, a small child whose image we have minted as of late, in preparation for his ascension.
The normal Imperial money, does it have the kid's face on it or somebody else's face?
You haven't. It's somebody else's face. Like the Imperial money has the Regent's head on it.
How long have you been minting the heir apparent's visage?
Oh, since he was born.
Perhaps it's being shipped off-world.
Oh, most definitely. There are tithes that do not end up in your emperor's, the prince's hand. There are tithes that go directly to the emperor, or wherever.
Everybody stay on task. We're supposed to be fighting the Shadow War, not just dicking with the Empire, because blowing up Switzerland is always
Blowing up Switzerland. Yeah, I guess this is kind of like dwarven Switzerland. I didn't realize that.
disrupting economics throughout the Empire.
Is there anything else I could aid you with as you prepare? You made quite an... I must say, Zita, that you made quite an impression with the Thane. A minor ailment through that gem of yours was quite a trick.
It is the nature of the treasure. Nothing I had to do with it.
Yes, and easily undone. It was more the public spectacle that dropped our master of ceremonies down a peg. You have made an enemy today, for sure.
Well, I suppose I could always just run away.
Fairly certain it must have been written somewhere.
Murgovane, Cade. Oh, I've never seen the Thane so excited, well, perhaps when he was a child, about gladiatorial combat. We have not had anyone who would be willing to face Old Thess.
What's Old Tess?
You won't be happy.
Is it
Old
worse than
Tess.
where we fought 3 weeks ago?
No, it's a particular Hydra.
Well-
Sort of.
Old Thess has never been defeated. Were you to do so, you would be named Champions of Ar-Yamar.
Old Thess is a legendary Hydra aberration. It has a huge central maw, it's gargantuan actually, and it has an acid breath weapon. Do I know if that comes from all the mouths, or just the central mouth, or just one mouth at a time?
Hydras usually are like all the heads.
They can all spit.
Is it intelligent?
It'll talk to you. It'll have 8 conversations at once if you want.
It can come out of any of its heads, although you're pretty certain only one.
One at a time, not 8 heads.
Yeah, it's all you're like it all comes from probably the
Same gland.
Same source,
the
yeah.
gland in the main body,
All right.
or the big mouth in the middle. Yeah, that's probably where the breath weapon comes from. The heads can spit acid.
Okay.
What are the rules for fighting here in the dwarf Old?
3 spells, Whatever weapons you can carry. I think against the old Thess you would do well to protect yourself against acid, and then anything that would make you mighty.
They are allowed to cast spells after the tree before the ding.
Yes.
Is there any rule? Anything about flying, fighting, turn invisible? Any ways of?
Oh, old Thess's necks will reach the ceiling of the hole.
We allowed to have it sent to another plane of existence. Killing, okay? These sorts of things.
Let us just give the Thane his show.
Yes, the showier the better.
I think he's saying cut the heads off. Do it the fun way. Also, have fun, fuckers. I'll be rooting for you.
Indeed. Now, he does go over and he closes the door. Might I ask you why exactly you're here? Is it truly to help fight this shadow war? Or are there other motives?
Grizak, a little privacy, please.
The private sanctum's still running. It's 24 hours.
Oh, you didn't
You
dismiss it?
dismissed it.
You dismissed it for the.
Oh, no, 1 second then. Give me a couple minutes. More like 10.
Okay, so he...
The Shadow War is of great concern. We have been fighting it
I'll
for
be
some
back
time.
in 10 minutes. Ice cream did not agree with me.
Okay.
It's going to be a life-changing event.
Your
Hold on.
3 a.m. ice cream is having a.
life-changing event. An LCE.
See what human limits are. All right.
She chit-chats about the Shadow War for like 10 minutes till Grizak finishes the spell.
Okay.
Once it's up. And Budrazukir sends his regards.
Ah. I suspected when I saw his owl.
I'm curious, how close akin are you?
Would you say the Budrazukir may have spawned my kind long ago? A relative. A patriarch.
You share certain quirks.
Mannerisms, yes, of course. It has to do with how our jaws unhinge when we're angry. He has my undying devotion. Do you have any proof that he is here? Or perhaps I could take your words back to his owl.
You can take our words back to his owl if you wish.
Okay, he goes over to the door and actually invites the owl in.
I would have assumed you would have known where the gem came from.
I had my suspicion. Of course, I do not have an accounting of the great Budrazukir hoard, or what is left of it.
If you have sense motive on the, I suspect it's true, but he is paranoid, so.
Okay.
Sense motive on the undying devotion. $39.
Okay, our friend, the emissary. Has a 52 on his bluff.
Fuck.
If he was bluffing.
See, here's the thing. He rolled boots and saw through a 40 whatever disguise roll from Renee.
This is Budrazukir.
You guys can try to see through his disguise if you want.
Yeah.
If you suspect, let's just roll a disguise roll. If he was disguising himself, it would be today. 60.
So this is where I have the ability to cast True Seeing, but I'm not going to because it's really expensive.
Okay.
Adam knows. My characters do not.
Uro, these are the elven delegation from Terrasleen. Yes, one coup for yes. Do you know these fellows? Apparently you have met Uro before.
We have seen Uro.
Uro, given if they are truly your friends, could you show them your true form? Okay, Uro begins to grow with sort of a bone-popping, feathery form into a huge owl.
Nice owl. Nice owl.
Wax took a
Who's
step-
a good owl?
Wax take a step back and actually pet Uro as he sort of headbutts. Uro is a giant owl.
No shit.
You notice that Uro's eyes flicker with magic, and he's looking at all of you.
Okay.
I'm just gonna take a step back.
A longtime companion of the last of the Budrazukir. Giant owls have the ability to see the truth of things.
And
Knowledge.
what does it see when it looks at the moon?
Well, I believe during your last Shadow War, the last of the giant owls that served the Cornel had died. This one was actually a gift from an old Cornel to the Zudrabukir. He's very old, and has probably seen things the likes of you have not.
Perhaps
You'd be surprised.
Uro could shrink again. It's a little disconcerting. It's quite a large owl.
Yes, of course. Uro, you are making them nervous.
I was not joking. What does he see when he sees the moon? If he sees the true thing?
I'm not certain. I will have to find out for you. What should he be looking for when he sees the moon?
There is a dark spot on the upper right-hand quadrant of the moon. It is visible during, fall and spring season.
Curious. You seem to have piqued Wax's
I have a very
Curiosity.
specific question. Does it know about this one specific thing I care about? Yeah.
What do you think is going on there, Renee?
Paint. Evil. End of days.
Ah,
If he truly can see the things, he should come to my lab, my tower, when he has the time. I have apparatus to help him see closer.
where might your tower be, Renee?
Belheim.
Belheim. Now there's a name I have not heard in some time. It's a village far to the west of here. A dragon died nearby.
Yeah, someone had to kill him.
You notice his eyes are now glancing at all of the green scaled things that some of you have made items into.
I think most of us are wearing something from that.
Yeah, from Aetoparix's horde.
Yeah.
Or from Aetoparix himself. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
I was not lying when I said that we have many veterans of the Shadow War here, and that we have been around for a long time.
Oh, I recognize the Grizak from his visits here, but perhaps I will...
How old do dragon?
I'm just a new
live?
guy, so don't worry about looking into me.
How old do dragonborn live?
They're like humanish.
You recognize the Grizzak from his earlier visits.
From the descriptions of his earlier visits.
And then he has a coy smile.
Tell me, what did you make of the ceremony today? He's changing topics.
It was long-winded, unnecessary, and only the master of ceremonies seemed to care.
If I hear the phrase because it's written one more time before I die, that would be one more time too many.
The dwarves themselves are waiting for a dragon to awake.
Why don't we wake him up?
It's a good question.
I would be nervous if I was a dwarf who'd taken a dragon's hoard.
Yes, indeed. Especially a dragon like he.
I thought good dragons were supposed to be goodly. That is what I was told. The metallic are supposed to be good for the people, and chromatic are supposed to be bad. Your dwarves here kind of act like prick.
They intone the right ceremonies, they say the right things, and are otherwise civilized. Well, mostly.
I thought it was on the inside that count, not the window dressing. Says the
Indeed.
ghoul.
There seems to be a certain...
Are you saying that good should always win?
Good rarely does.
There's a shadier side to this religion. They speak of envy and greed as though it's a good thing.
Well, yes. They seem to figure out their station by what they own, how many baubles they have, how many servants or slaves.
Murgovain harumps at that.
Far have they fallen.
There is hope among them. The first son. He seems to be honorable, young and foolhardy, but at least creative in his intonation.
And yet it would be against imperial law for him to assume command.
Or to marry that young priestess, I assume.
Well, not against imperial law, but against the
Dwarven tradition.
the wishes of his father, for sure. There are much richer and more noble women that are waiting in the wings. His son is desirable to... His marriage to his son would increase the position of a clan, or a whole group of clans. There's all sorts of tedious politics at work here.
Is there a source of law for this place, a library or some such thing?
A library? Yes.
Is it portable?
The dwarves write things down on stone and copper. You could go to the library, but I'm not sure you would find your answers quickly. There is a great backlog of things to be written.
There is a great scholar who might be able to... A great scholar of imperial law.
I'm back.
Grizak returns.
Oh, I had to make a fort save, will save, and reflex save. It's horrible.
It's like the great splashing.
Had to be done in a rope deck. Dismiss the rush.
The only question is, in which order did you have to make this?
Okay, so Grizak comes back. Ah, yeah. You just pooped in a empty potted plant or something like that.
Cast cure light wounds on himself.
Wyax just simply grins at Grizak.
We know of a scholar of imperial law. He might be able to find a loophole that would allow the son to take some semblance of command. An appropriate title that would not offend the Imperium.
Interesting, but it is of minor consequence. This place is wrong.
Well,
How do you make it right again?
I think we try to awaken the dragon.
that may not work for us. We're actually here to find the dragon's hoard. Or at least one of them. Possibly two.
I see.
If you are indeed beholden to Budra Zakir, and as I'm speaking this, I'm trusting you that you are, then you'll want to keep your bags packed. Because what we're going to take, it will be missed.
Ah. Does your master know about this, Uro? What is it that you seek from the hordes? From which horde do you intend to take?
We're not certain which hoard it's in.
There is
Well-
a sarcophagus.
Made of mithril. Contains
Go ahead.
Contains
No,
a-
you know what? This I will say it. It contains a friend of ours. You don't bet him.
Oh, a friend of yours. Must be a
apparently
very-
the sarcophagus puts whoever's inside, provided they're living, in stasis.
Interesting.
Fucker stole my bow.
It is written down which items were taken from the hold and where they ended up. If anything, the dwarves and dragonborn of this city are pedantic and orderly. They like recording things.
Would this also be in the Great Library?
No. There are sacred books where it is written all the things that are in the hold. I may perhaps be able to get a look at some of them.
We also need the other thing.
Who is the other thing?
Sphere.
A minor trinket, as it was put.
Well, it will be easier to find major trinkets than minor ones.
This one would be a golden orb.
A golden orb. You'll have to do better than that, my dear. There are so many gold things here in Aryamar.
Provided it was identified correctly. From the description, I suspect it's an orb of dragon kind. For gold dragons.
His nostrils flare a little bit. He looks at you. You?
Not a minor item at all.
No. Not. And not very well known. How did you come by this information?
I'm very well read.
There's his bluff.
I can't beat that. So, congratulations. You fooled me again.
I need my familiar back.
I need you to roll a 1, and then I will roll.
Why do you wish to steal a great and sacred artifact of our great heart of gold?
I don't wish to, but it is the payment required.
To whom?
Zakir. Who else?
Ah, is this true, Uro?
As I said, it will be missed.
I'm gonna keep any chicken jokes for later, just in case it grows big again.
A wise decision.
Yes, both will be missed. The People's Hold is very easily accessible. But it did not start until after your last Shadow War. After I do not think I recall ever seeing a sarcophagus amongst the offerings.
Was the dragon awake during the first Shadow War?
Dragons do sleep for a very long time. The older and more powerful they are, the longer they sleep.
So we must sleep for veritable millennia.
No, the Heart of Gold was not awake then. He was settling down. He would have been napping.
It's always good to miss 2 cataclysms that nearly wipe out your flock.
We were not affected by the first Shadow War like others were.
It will be coming with a vengeance this time.
This will be different.
Yes, it is unfortunate the Heart of Gold was not awake when the Imperium came, or at least he was awake for long enough to convince the Imperium to make a great amount of, how shall we say, allowances. It is unfortunate that Terrazline and other nations were not as well bountiful with the things the Imperium required.
When is it expected that the dragon will awake?
I honestly do not know.
Would this orb thing wake him?
Perhaps. If someone would risk using it.
And the demeanor of the sleeping god would be what in the morning?
I don't know. His temple is split into 3. His followers, numb with ritual, under the yoke of an empire of great power.
I was him, I'd start fresh.
I'd be pretty pissed off.
Indeed.
Hey, I think I remember the sarcophagus. Stupid Green Dark. Yeah, it's supposed to be. It was a gift. Came from the elves.
Yes,
That's where it came from.
it's from
Maybe it'd be
Terrazine.
easier. Yeah, maybe easier to track that way.
I will definitely go and consult the books that I'm allowed to look at.
Yeah.
That is excellent information, Grizak. You are most helpful.
What did I say?
He smiles. Locating
So,
the...
in your opinion,
Yes, Widget. Wilbur.
what would you do to get the general replaced with somebody who can actually do the goddamn job? Or simply wake up the dragon and let him clean up his mess? And run away. Sorry, wake up the dragon and run away, and then let him clean up the mess.
The general can fight. He just lacks confidence.
Leadership.
You want an ally in this coming war.
Yes,
The
well,
greatest
one of the things
ally
we-
you would have against the forces behind the shadow would be that of the Heart of Gold. The Heart of Gold would put its kingdom back into order.
And how far does it think its kingdom goes?
As far as I'm concerned, it can go all the way to the capital.
It is not a kingdom. The Heart of Gold has 3 kingdoms. One in the heavens, one upon this world, and one in your heart.
Okay, how far does the one on this world go? Because the other two are kind of not as useful.
These are all excellent questions.
Because I mean,
If you could predict the lines on a map, you would be the greatest prophet ever.
so
Oh, I can draw land on the map here. No. He starts urinating. Here's a puddle of water,
Clean it up. It's disgusting. Have you been
and there's
eating
a mountain.
What?
Oh, there it is.
What have we told you about eating asparagus and showing us things with you?
Hold on, we're getting to the Great River.
Clean up your filth.
No. Alright.
A truly deranged creature he is.
so if the he- is the Heart of Gold a god or isn't it?
It is an excellent question. Although
'Cause if
I'm
it's
not
a god, then how is it not engaged against the forces of the Dragon Elf's shadow?
It could be that it possesses a spark of the divine.
Yes, I would lean more towards Zeta's theory. There are other creatures. The dragon in Elf Shadow, the source behind the light, the Heart of Gold.
So if the source behind the light is the antithesis of the Dragon and Elf's shadow, where does the Heart of Gold fit in?
Hopefully anywhere in the area where shadows are bad.
The Heart of Gold is civilization. It is creation. It is order. Naturally, the Heart of Gold should be on the same side as the source behind the light. Especially against a foe like the Dragon in Elf Shadow.
I'm sense motiving again. Does he worship the Heart of Gold?
Sure. 40?
I can beat that. Not today, though.
Oh, but I can beat that. I can beat that. I can beat. No, I can't beat that. My familiar's not. I need my familiar. My familiar helps me see things. I don't think.
This particular Dragonborn you're asking, right?
Yeah.
He seems to respect it. You don't know. He hasn't shown great. Like, he hasn't spouted any religious doctrine.
Reverence.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, the first step in our little plan is to find out where the items we're looking for are. After that, we'll develop a plan to acquire them. Immediately followed by developing a plan of escape.
Should you not plan out all 3 things before taking action?
Of course.
Good.
The next part of the plan is to execute.
Who are we executing?
We'll tell you when we're done.
A little bit of zippity zap. I'll execute everybody for you.
Everyone will be terribly distracted during Mogurvain and Cade's fight.
That doesn't give us a lot of time, I don't think.
No, but I doubt that anyone with their weight in gold will be at that match.
As long as they get to fight Old Tess.
Yes. You have to defeat one or several of those stone guardians. I hope that you're up to this task. This could mean your deaths.
Oh, hopefully we don't die. Tell me, do you have any of those stones in the floor?
Pardon?
The ones that remove your magic.
No, we go in with 3 spells. Sorry, we go in with 3 spells, I think he said.
No, there are no anti-magical things in the Hall of Proving.
Does this group know about the soul-sucking artifacts of violence the vampire shoots around the space and time?
Yeah, I'm guessing you don't have the boxes either.
What boxes? We have plenty of boxes.
No. The one in the ground, the one in the arena.
The one in the
You
ground.
know, the ones that trap your soul.
The Imperium has a disgusting habit of trapping the souls of dead gladiators. And they're actual citizens, as it turns out.
There is a tremble of anger that comes from
Come on.
Wyex's.
Use your frightful presence, you dragon bitch. Get out here. Get angry. Come on and join the fight.
All in an effort to crush the last vestiges of the old gods.
Yeah, they're using it to,
They deny these souls an afterlife. That is
Yeah.
how much they hate the heretics.
There is a correction. The worshippers and followers of the nameless gods are immune.
Oh, that's good for...
Yes, I suppose they would be.
Oh, really? Because I was like, oh, screw you, Obadiah. Stormy storm.
Stormy the storm god.
Okay, do you actually hear a rumble in the heavens?
Yeah, he's always around.
Did we just
I think
witness a religious conversion? You know, I had to make things at a forge and do ritual and.
I think I blinked. What?
Previous to Obadiah.
Okay, so the druid spells and anything divine that you've just prepared is the last spell you ever receive from Obadiah as you cursed Obadiah. Sure. Not without an atonement, but like the powers are still in your mind, but you can't. You know that you've just blasphemed against Obadiah.
So you can atone to Obadiah, or you can get a. Where the fuck are you gonna find a storm priest to give you an atonement?
Oh, we know of one.
There's killing everyone.
There's a grumble in the air.
So hold on. So you're saying the druid spells that I have?
Yep, and powers will not refresh at dawn.
Oh, there was no stormy storm.
You can hear him. He's up there. There's a grumbling in the heavens.
Have you prayed to Stormy Storm?
Hey guys, I'll be back.
Where are you going, Rizak?
I'm just gonna go see the storm. I'll be back.
I'm going to need your help in identifying which box is the box of your friend.
It's gonna be tough. How much time do you need? Where you can find it?
You're not permitted to leave, are you, Ma? You are the guests, and the two of you are the subjects of the Thane during a time of war.
For fuck's sakes. Alright.
So my powers will not refresh in the morning. My
Yes.
druid powers. Let's put those on hold for now.
Still fuck you, Obadiah. Useless asshole.
Okay, the holy symbol after the second blaspheming actually breaks from your neck and falls to the ground.
Well, there goes them spells.
Wow.
Obadiah's had enough of your bullshit.
You still
Have
have the
your-
spells in your mind, and you still have your druid powers. It's just they're not going to refresh come morning, and your one holy symbol is broken. I don't know if you carry multiple, but the one
3 centuries
you had.
worth of worship gone.
You realize, Grizak, to watch one simply throw away their god, when that one has been forced to convert against their will, is an insult.
I don't know, gods. They're just guys with powerful stuff. They're not gods. They're just powerful, that's all. And whose team you playing on?
It is surprising that it happened so quickly with such little knowledge, but yes. I believe...
We keep him around because he is special.
I actually don't know why we keep him around at this point. He was a direct conduit to Obadiah and had been so for centuries.
He's here for now. Continue to guide his actions, I suppose, as much as they can be.
When the Imperium Magi and Dragon Slayers arrived on Turak, they did have one of these orcs with them. To ensure that the dragons that they slew would not come back. When the armies came to the foothills of the Twin Peaks and made their demands, they carried an orc of the Undying Emperor with them. And the short skirmish that happened there between the guardians of the realm, including my ancient clan.
Sense motive? Is he crying?
He's serious. Were not able to return. You brought up an interesting point. I actually don't know if one of those boxes are here. We shall have to look closely at the items in the hoard.
In your clan's previous battles, did you find a way to destroy one of these items? Or learn what the souls that have been stolen from the gods are used for?
What they are used for, no, but know that they linger inside the box. Trapped there. And there is more than one of these things.
Yeah, there's one in every arena, isn't there?
Yes, you've given me something very interesting to ponder and to look into. But if that secret is buried here, it was buried a few hundred years ago, when the Imperium first came.
Hard to remember that far back.
It is a very rare thing for people to be returned back to life here.
Well, it can be done.
Especially if your priest's unable to remove the blindness from their faces.
Yes, it may not have been the day to prepare such a spell. Spring is the time to do so.
Okay, I think there's a chuckle throughout the room at that. Jackasses.
Well, it's funny, he can't even read it anymore.
Winter is not the time for resurrection! It's inauspicious! Funny.
Mark,
Yes.
I want you to prepare your spells for your prepared caster a year in advance. Go!
Oh no, Mark. Here's your prepared spell list as ordained 100 years ago. Go.
Yeah.
Here's what you got. Well,
Gee.
Set
Why
your
don't you-
snake sigil. Why?
or Ahmed, prepare Mark's spell list for the century. Tangle it. Live in a mountain.
It is written.
Climate change is the motherfucker.
Yeah, well, why not? You want your spells, don't you?
If that's the only, like, if they have interpreted it as that's the only way to be granted the spell, like, this is the way the spells work, it's like, this is what you need to ask for. This is there's no branching
better
out.
fight.
Here's a
better
list
fight on
of the
Friday.
prayers to make when you do your prayers in the morning. That's what you got.
These are the approved prayers and requests.
For the date of the
Now, I suppose I have some research to do. Would you care to join me, Grizak?
Yeah, all right.
Does anyone else read
I do.
Dwarven and High Dwarven, as well as Draconic?
I read Dwarven Draconic.
a lot of us, as I said, travel with Dragonborn. A lot of us do the Draconic thing.
I read Draconic as well.
Interesting. This may go quicker than I expected. Now,
Although to be fair, I'm not one of them.
now to find an excuse for you to be brought into the Library of Bronze.
To observe the grandeur of the library before our imminent deaths in the arena.
I could say I was taking you on a tour. Is there anything that the elves would want to know about the past?
What would flatter their egos? Crafting techniques for weapons. Would that be acceptable?
Yes, some of us will look at crafting techniques for weapons.
You got pictures in them books?
Yes, there are many diagrams in many of the books and scrolls.
I craft weapons, so...
Excellent. Then you, Widget, will be in charge of looking for excellently crafted things in history. I think on the way I will take you by where most of the People's Hoard, at least the initial part of it, ended up. In the Colossus of Gold.
You got them pebbles you were talking about?
Yes, I will go and procure them while we are there.
That's where we find out the sarcophagus was actually melded into the butt cheeks of the Colossus.
Mithril butt cheeks.
Mithril butt cheeks. And
Would you
Givenfresh
like to
will come
join
with the
us,
butt.
Uro, or would you like to return to your master's side to report?
It's not the same thing.
Uro hops up onto his shoulder, and he brings you throughout the citadel. Let me just go to Ar Yamar, the city of gold, and we'll pop your. Let's make Ar Yamar smaller. Adjust grid.
I wouldn't actually mind a tour. It is a city of great history and a beauty of its own.
I made the grid smaller. You guys got all separated. Okay, he takes you on a tour. He brings you to a grand entry hall. There is a great vaulted ceiling, and the main thoroughfares are cut in a particular way, almost as if the top of the hall is cut and built in a way so that you could look down, but also the head of a massive statue could move down the hallways. And at the center of this intersecting set of great hallways is the Colossus of Gold. And let me put down what the Colossus of Gold looks like. A giant golden statue of a massive dwarf. Grizak, you remember this thing. You remember you and Nibbles accidentally tripped it? or toppled it as it was in the middle of being constructed?
It was
So-
accidentally maliciously pushed on its side.
Suddenly, accidentally, maliciously, tragically, horrifically.
What a tragedy.
Does it bring back any memories, Grizak?
Nope.
He's laughing internally.
And externally.
Okay, this thing, you notice that actually you catch a couple people walking up there. There's like a dwarven woman with two small dwarven children, old enough to walk. They go up and they place a few things down in buckets and baskets near the Colossus. The Colossus is indeed a colossal creature, or some sort of golem made out of gold. You can give me a knowledge arcana.
Today, I'll take me one of my 20s today, and I'll get a 50.
Okay. 50. Whoever was the true crafter of this particular golem was mythic in general and breathed magic into it. A gold colossus casts auras of warm bravery around anyone in its vicinity. Can bless entire armies as they do battle.
Holy shit.
Has intelligence. Like, it does understand tactics.
Grizak waves at it. Hey, buddy. How's your memory?
Can selectively target creatures with anti-magic.
Okay.
Wow.
She is trying to impress Wyax. So she spouts all this off. Very impressive.
Right now, it is in its alternative form as a massive gold war monument. But this thing can definitely come alive.
I'd very much like to see when it comes alive.
So we toppled it during construction, right?
Yeah,
It wasn't ready.
the magic had yet to be breathed into it, and it was just a gigantic gold statue that they were piecing together, and you guys toppled it out of its mold.
To be perfectly honest, the level of competency that we saw in the hall there made me think you guys couldn't make this sort of thing.
No. Sometimes we are able to coax the heart of gold awake, or he may speak through us. His spirit is here. He did wake long enough to breathe into the heart of this great creation. And yes, it can come alive, although it never has done so for more than a few moments to stammer a word or to
Is
take
it
a step.
true? It is true, though. It can bless entire armies.
Yes. Do you not feel emboldened by simply standing beside it? And yeah, you do.
I do, yes. It's very impressive.
This particular statue, it seems, can see into the hearts of those that stand around it and selectively choose who receives its blessing or does not.
I understand it can also choose whom it afflicts with an anti-magic field.
Yes. Yes.
Kind of distance.
With your 50, also, when it hits you, your DR and your SR with each hit is reduced by 2.
Permanently?
You don't.
Those with resistances to magic or physical harm, every strike from the beast actually reduces that resistance. Did you know that?
So it comes back. Does it come back?
What's that?
These resistances?
You maybe, yeah. There might be a curse. It might be a a thing? Usually when you're getting hit by something that big, it's not like you're
Well, usually it's like, oh, if I get hit 10 times, it'll be a problem. It's like,
That's
no.
pretty fatal, yeah.
Yep.
Smash, smash, smash.
Yeah, you're talking
Sunshine
epic DR and big to hits.
So, like,
Most of the value of the heart of the temple, the hoard called the heart of the temple, lies here in its construction.
but anti-magic and fucking a big statue isn't going to stop a shadow swarm. It would stop us dead in our tracks, but it wouldn't stop an army of shadows. They don't care about magic. They don't care if you're scared.
This is a holy place. There are many holy places here. Places the shadows would not deign to come.
You believe that? You familiar with the Dusk Lords?
Naturally, they would.
There is a method to fortify stone against shadows.
Sounds like the Five-Faced God priest, where it's like, I'm just going to sit in my church, it'll be fine. Just going to sleep it off.
The people of Ar-Yamar are defensive-minded. Woe to this continent should they have decided to conquest with their wealth.
No doubt it is vast, though the Imperium, their resources are virtually unlimited. Well, they're not limited to this world.
Again, another war, another army that's not really afraid of anti-magic, but guns and ships and nonsense.
Yes, there is a reason why Ar-Yamar is a vassal state to the Imperium.
When do you say you made this thing? When do you say you broke this thing?
200 years ago, give or take a
Yeah.
decade?
I don't remember. A while ago. It was a third Nibbles.
Oh, third nibbles. Okay, I thought you said something else.
Something.
Like, what are you
Nibbles,
talking
Nibbles,
about?
Nibbles was reincarnated multiple times. Third version.
Gonna need a third hand in here.
Pretty much. So you had 200 years ago, Dragon woke up, returned this thing alive.
Yes,
Has it woken up since?
briefly.
What did it do then?
He spoke to some of the priests, likely. Blessed a thing. Went back to
You weren't
sleep.
privy?
Oh, yes, I'm sure that this is the most public. The others would be much more private.
And do you trust the priests that seem to have run the concept off a cliff into...
If the priests could construct such a wonderful thing, blessed may they be, he says out loud, and you notice a couple of people are within earshot. He looks at you. Like, you're asking that here?
Yep.
With it, propriety, please. Or at least another language.
Ah, would you like to
He
speak to
doesn't
the
speak Dwarvish, so it's not Dwarvish.
Would you like to speak to the general? The shrine where he prays quite often is here. At least when he is in Ar-Yamar.
Yes.
When he is in Aryama, where does he go?
Oh, there are other fortifications in these mountains in this valley. There is a monastery high up upon one of the peaks.
Dedicated to the Heart of Gold?
Of course. The empty seat you saw.
Ah, yes.
The greatest monk of the Heart of Gold's religion spends his time upon that lonely peak.
That's not a challenge, Cade. Ahmed?
Which peak is it again?
The one across from us. The westernmost.
Hmm. Maybe he's got some training I could learn from.
Most definitely he does. He is both ancient and powerful. A half-dragon of golden scales. He might even be able to teach a paladin a thing or two. Or anyone who fights with their hands. Yameri is his name.
Write it down on it. Yeah.
Rarely does Yameri come down here.
Such is the nature of monks. They rarely have anything to do with those outside of their own monastery.
Yes, perhaps Yameri simply waits for the heart of gold to awaken. It is the going theory.
It's a fine theory, in my opinion.
Yes, yes, Uro, I understand.
Maybe I will speak with him at some point. Go find him.
Give me a linguistics check or a knowledge arcana.
I will do knowledge arcana. 40?
That was familiar speak.
And that's what I thought. Yep.
You notice he kind of like he grinned at his bird. His bird might not be as
Smart.
as smart or bluffy as he is.
Yep. She's gonna pretend she didn't catch it.
He's a very chatty bird, aren't you, Uro?
I can hear that with all the coos and whatnot.
Yes.
42 on the bluff. Damn it! Do you roll a 10 or less?
We're catching him in a lie.
No, I got caught in a lie.
You caught him in a lie first. The familiar started talking familiar speak, and you identified it as familiar speak. And he saw that Zeta understood. Something happened between the three of them about the bird being chatty.
What's going on, guys? Why is everyone looking at each other?
I wonder if Yameri would be the one guarding such a valuable thing. He would be the trusted one. He would be the most holy of holies.
Maybe I can speak to him after defeating that monster.
Yes, what a splendid idea. Present one of the heads of the Thula, proving that you are paragons of power and virtue, and wishing to gain an audience with Yameri. Have a look around while you're there.
Yeah, that'll be on display, but we'll look around, yeah. So when are we fighting?
Soon.
They have to write it down first.
Indeed. They'll have to schedule it.
Is there a place where Cade and I can practice? Perhaps with my sword?
You will have your practice fight. I thought the group of you were going to help me look for the division, the documents that show the divisions of the Horde and how it was spent.
In Vanderpool, it's my understanding it takes weeks to plan a fight.
I'm certain the Thane will
You look pretty happy.
roll over any of the red tape for such a thing.
Ah,
the General. Here he comes. General, may I introduce to you, in this vaunted place, in the shadow of the great gold colossus itself, the delegation from Terraslene, led by Zeta.
Greetings, General. The ambassador was kind enough to offer us a tour of your fine home. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm quite all right. Pleasure to meet you. He looks at Wyax, looks at all of you, looks terrified.
Is there something we
You're
can
a
do to
paladin, right?
help?
Yes, I am a paladin of the heart of gold. Chief amongst the paladins here, Yamar.
You sure?
Detect magic?
Quite sure. Quite. That's what he says. Don't mind the general. He's a bit apprehensive around new people.
Oh,
Detect magic? I'm
Okay.
looking for a curse.
You don't see a curse?
You mean like a paladin, like the smite and the holy vengeance and all that jazz?
Well, yes, normally paladins don't display their power, but I'm quite capable of smiting evil things.
nice to meet you. I'm the Grizzag. How you doing? Look at you, dragon-like. Beautiful. Beautiful.
The Kukurizak. He looks at your hand. He seems uncertain as to what to do with it and simply clasps his claws across his breastplate.
All right.
Please do not try to tip the statue. I've heard stories about you and your friends here long ago. I did not think that dwarves lived for so long.
Yeah, it's a strange life I got.
Are you here to destroy the temple?
No. I'm a diplomancer.
Sounds awful, whatever that is. Are they here to
Yeah.
ensorcel our minds?
No.
Kate pushes him back like,
No, he's a diplomat. Diplomat. He's mad.
We came in the hopes of forging an alliance, General.
Ah, yes, an alliance, of course.
Can you
To
do any
fight
other
together.
paladin things? Like, can you heal people with your hands? Because I'm not.
Oh yes, are any of you injured?
I can injure someone.
No, please don't. That would be against the law.
May I try something with you? It involves a spell, but it's harmless, I promise.
I cannot accept any of your spells. I am sorry. I have other things to do.
As you wish.
Just a quick thing, General. How are you preparing for the shadows? Because they're very dangerous. Not like last time.
They will come in here, possess your people.
What they kill, they make other shadows of. You know this.
We are not at war with the shadows.
You will be. They consume all in their path.
They've decided that war is coming, and it's coming towards you. Gotta prepare for it.
I assure you, you're most safe here. You can stay as long as you wish to be safe. As long as you follow the rules.
Kill them. We're gonna go and kill them all.
As long as you don't try to destroy the temple.
There's a temple here.
Are you certain you can't? Are you certain you cannot accept a spell, even if it is not a? It guarantees not a heretical blessing.
We have tried to heal our paladin here.
Did you try to protect his mind from fear?
It will
Make
work
him immune.
for a short period of time, if you wish. Yes.
Tito, do you have a greater heroism that you could just check on him to see if...
Yes, if he'll accept the spell.
I suppose in the glory of the Gold Colossus, how could this go wrong?
Of course. She casts greater heroism on him. How does he?
Ah! 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 Wax just simply shifts like this is not a new reaction. He hugs you. It is good to feel like myself.
What's the cause of this,
How
buddy?
long have you been feeling incorrectly?
Since he whispered in my ear.
Who?
The heart of gold.
Spit is what he said.
Whispered.
Until he whispered in my ear.
Did he tell you to be afraid?
How long will this spell last? Is what he asked.
And I think it's still the same amount of time,
It's 1 minute per casual.
but a few minutes, a little more than 10.
I have much to do with that time. Then and he gives you a hug. Thank you. You allowed hugs, right? In Terra's Lean?
Yes, we hug all the time. Thank you.
Wonderful! I shall have to visit Terra's Lean one day.
We would welcome you.
Good day to you and thank you! He goes running off and he seems to be super happy.
That is a cursed man if I've ever seen a cursed man.
That is a curse, to be sure.
Seems fun to me.
Apparently, the Heart of Gold had to share some of its burden with him. And what the Heart of Gold told him has made him ever so frightful. He is very afraid of the temple being destroyed, although I'm not sure which temple and from which source of destruction.
Well, one would assume.
The temple, as in capital T.
Yes.
Ahmed, that's a little aggressive.
Oh, sorry. I was muted.
Fox is like, I thought the immunity of fear is the reason why paladins are usually insane. He is most peculiar for a paladin, indeed.
There's a problem where he can't lead shit that way.
Agreed, but he has been blessed by the Heart of Gold, and it is a burden that he must bear. We have deliberated and agreed that we must allow the Heart of Gold's wishes to be fulfilled.
Who are we to question the wisdom of your counsel?
No, in fact, many of the defenses have been redoubled or tripled because of his fears.
Let us call it his reservations, not slander the man.
Thank you. I knew you would understand.
Did he ever say what he was told?
I think it has something to do about the destruction of the temple.
Do you know which the temple, or is it just a generic the temple?
That is what we have deliberated for a long time upon.
Does the Heart of Gold even know you got 3 temples going?
Usually when it awakes, it tells commands and has its will known. There's little time for an accounting of all the minor things that have passed in its somnolence. It's sleep, dear. It's sleep.
Does it know... When did it speak to him?
I believe when he was training to become a paladin.
So he was made the general in that state.
He was ordained to become the general. He received all the training and knowledge he required. It was on the eve of his ordainment of paladinhood. Where he was permitted to enter the chamber where the dragon sleeps and commune with him.
definitely a problem. We could cut out that memory.
Why? The
So,
Protectorate of Twin Mountains is perfectly safe.
but he ain't leading no armies.
No. But the Imperium in the Heart of Gold does not require him to lead armies.
So who takes care of the defenses?
He and the others?
When it comes time to lead the defenses, who's leading the defenses?
Oh, well, all dwarves have martial training.
It is Switzerland. Everybody's got a gun.
Every warrior and every able-bodied man, woman, upon their coming of age, goes to the Hall of Proving.
Switzerland.
As I said before, his reservations have made him an excellent, what would be the word, Chamberlain of Defense?
I thought he was title of general.
Yes. I would not follow him into an offensive war. That is for certain. But here,
No. I know a couple of guys that would follow him into an alley. That's that's about it.
I'm certain the Heart of Gold has his reasons.
He seems a poor war chief.
It seems to be a great concern of yours. Is it because of the Shadow War that you expected dwarves to march into the field and expose themselves? I don't think that will ever happen.
Hardly. No one should march into open fields. With these things, you need to defend properly. But you should know how to defend. And people don't understand what kind of enemy's coming at them.
This is the last dwarven realm on Avasia and likely all of Tarak. Even more reason to keep it safe.
Well, the last
There's another one east here.
Durgard's slightly different.
Still, I understand outsiders do not get their ways. I mean our ways.
No, see, the thing we were hoping is that you'd at least be a stronghold, not a pushover. And right now, it's kind of looking. It's a much more high value target than would have been previously expected.
Oh, I'm sure that the Protectorate of Twin Mountains will survive this conflict and others, as we always have, as it was written, and so it shall be.
Was it written that you were going to bend the knee? Just not something you normally found written down somewhere.
And Terrazline did not bend the knee to survive. There are other
Ooh, we got you there, short stuff.
there are other elven nations that did not fare so well.
Of course.
This is true.
Many went down swinging.
Some still are in a strange way. It is most unfortunate that we are fighting amongst ourselves.
There's still much more of the Citadel to see. Let's
Yes,
move on.
the Library of Bronze.
Oh, wonderful.
We shall spend some time amongst the copper sheafs. I understand that handling too much copper makes some people ill. You can use the gloves.
I am delicate.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of gloves that are in a bin outside this. Whoa! There's a huge spindles of like plated copper. Like you actually have to unfold them, kind of thing. Like big scrolls, stacks and stacks of copper mounds, and dwarves
Paper cuts here are nasty.
and dwarves moving amongst them. Some of the copper plates are in frames, while others are just simply stacked on top of each other. There are letters in Dwarven along the tiles, which is like the dwarven Dewey Decimal System, I suppose, arranged in this huge, like they're all piles. So there's no shelves. They're piles and then upward kind of like big scrolls. There are individual shelves maybe in some sections, but effectively it's this massive grid in this vaulted chamber. Most of there are columns that punctuate and hold up the ceiling for a chamber this large, and the columns themselves have little nooks in them with little copper things upon which stuff has been written.
How tall are the stacks? Is it like dwarf height, or do you have to?
Yeah, dwarf height, kind of.
Nothing's higher than nothing, like no step.
You hear a lot of like shing as people seem to like have the system of, if you need something that's like down in the stack, you kind of like stack it up beside you until like the stacks are always kind of undulating between two.
Okay, yeah.
Oh God.
I shall start over here and you over there.
Very well.
We're looking for the great division of the Hoard of the Heart of Gold. It will not be all written down in one place. These are more like second-hand, third-hand accounts of the actual accounting.
Where's the Draconic?
Oh, it will be written in Draconic, as well as Dwarven. Might I suggest you start over there, where all the craftsmen and the weaponry is.
Alright.
Okay.
While
I go for a bio break, I want you to break out into groups, and groups by which knowledge or craft skill or profession are you researching, and this will represent like several days of searching at the library.
Okay.
Several days.
I think so.
We'll see how long our druid can keep from using his powers just randomly, intermittently, suddenly, dramatically.
And then if Fox or anyone else on the stream has questions as to what the fuck's going on.
Okay. Skills, useless.
Craftsman? Assholes?
Does anyone have locate object?
That's a good question. I think we have a scroll.
I'm gonna look at Grizak's magic here. Well, luckily I had prepared for combat. It's kind of useful.
Yeah, that's useful that your last prep was a combat prep and not just all entangles. No.
Okay. Okay. Showing your ass to the world.
Kitty butt.
That's not in hand.
Kitty butt. Purring kitty butt.
Okay, so I've got perception.
The kabooty.
Maybe let's see.
Alright, we're taking some of the dwarves to help us. We're taking the dwarves with us to find about weapon stuff. These are our two groups.
Yep.
Cave's got knowledge religion.
You've got knowledge, find me the picture books. That's what you got.
Knowledge religion will be.
Find me a picture book.
Margovane doesn't really have any great skills, so aside from perception and survival.
Yeah.
Zira's great skills are sense, motive, perception, spellcraft, stealth, diplomacy, and the bluffing. So talky talk. She's slightly intimidating. Renee knows everything there is to know about astronomy.
He makes weapons too, though.
He makes weapons. He mostly makes armor. He makes really good armor.
I'm sure there's some armor in the Horde to look up.
Oh yeah, for sure. So we don't actually need to steal the casket. We just need the asshole and the stuff out of the casket.
Yeah, that's all we need really.
So we might be able to actually do the casket side of this adventure
Without
before,
yeah.
like we won't necessarily trip all the guards and the alarms
Yeah.
and stuff.
We can leave without yeah. Then
Additionally, I'm not leaving my weapons in the box.
Oh no, the ones